happy, Merry Christmas, everybody.
No, it's over. Christmas is
Christmas is over?
Yes.
Has it been decreed?
Yes.
We're done with Christmas?
No, this is the New Year's episode.
Do we take down the decorations and everything
No,
already?
in all fairness, in all honesty, mine stay up until April. So Christmas is never over. And then it's Christmas in July. And then it just keeps being Christmas until the next December.
Why do you keep them up for so long? Is it because you're procrastinating?
It's actually an active choice on my part. I refuse to bend to the cultural pressure of taking
Yes.
down beautiful lights before I'm done with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a conscious decision.
I thought we were like reaching something deep.
You thought you were going to uncover my darkest secret.
It was like a gotcha moment.
It was. I felt it. I felt it happening. I could tell. I knew it. I knew you would trap me in one of these episodes.
Right?
Yes.
This was it.
It happened.
This is it.
Listen, I asked on my stories, I said, is Ina gonna, in this podcast, recording day, is she gonna try and catch me? And someone said, yes.
Yes.
She's going to try and catch you.
That was me who said
Catch me in a lie.
That was me who answered that poll. I said yes.
That was you.
That was me.
Perfect. All right.
So welcome everybody back to the podcast. My name is Ina Coveney.
Elyssa Smith.
And I pronounce it Elyssa. Please don't pronounce it that way. It's just the way that I pronounce it.
Also, I'm not offended by that.
It's just fine.
I'm not, but she's offended that she pronounces it differently than I do.
Shouldn't, but I do pronounce
Don't should on yourself.
Don't stop shooting.
Stop shooting.
Stop shooting it.
Or shouldn't. Don't do that either.
And it is the New Year's episode, so it's gonna be 2025.
No.
Yes.
I mean, yes.
Yes.
But
this
starts the time of the year where you try and write the date and you get it wrong every day for like 13 days.
I'm gonna tell you something that I've never told anybody before.
You heard it here first, guys.
I miss the beginning of the 2000s because you could write the date like January 7th of 2003 would be 173. I was that person not doing 03.
You didn't do the zeros?
I didn't do the zeros. And I loved it because it was like, it's never going to happen again in my life.
It's really true.
You know?
That is a missed thank you for pointing out the missed opportunity, Ina. Now I'm going to have regrets. Of course I used the zeros. No, maybe not for like January. If I was just one. Yeah, I don't think I'd put because right now it's like I don't put the zero.
Well, you might not do like 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, whatever, but for the year, I love just doing like single digit
year.
I miss that.
That is messed up.
I realize
I'm second guessing being on this episode now.
Yeah, it's never gonna happen again. Do you realize that?
I can't think about that.
I'm not gonna live to 125 to see.
My son says he wants me to live to 140 because there was somebody in the Bible that lived that long.
Oh,
and so he said, Mom, I want you to live till 100. No, he said 160 for me and 100 and whatever it would be for him, 130. So he also has it planned that we're going to go to heaven at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
So listen, if that happens for you too,
that's great.
We will both be the single digit years again.
You know, that's a goal. That's a milestone to strive for. That's something we want to do.
This is all we're talking about today too, by the way.
Dates.
Everyone listening, and, you're welcome.
How you write your dates. Anyway, it's the New Year's episode, and we want to kind of start this off. By the way, if this is the first time that you visited the podcast, we normally do. I was going to say, I don't know. She's introducing me like I guess this is what I do now. No, let me tell you why Elyssa is here. Okay, Elyssa.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Elyssa is a really, really good friend of mine, and she just happens to be extremely funny. She is
That's why you keep me around.
Trauma-informed life strategist that has completely changed the way that I see my own self-awareness and the way that I play any game. And she has been helping so many women break through those fears. So if there's anybody in 2025 that you need to know who she is this woman right here. And she also has a TEDx talk that I'm also going to be linking below, which is amazing. At the time of this recording, it's fast approaching 50,000 views. And that is a very, very special metric because not everybody gets a 50,000 views on their TEDx talk. And Elyssa is somebody that I really admire, that I feel like everybody needs to know. And I decided to bring her on for a couple of episodes at the end of this year so we can help you guys really get the year started and meet all of your goals and meet all of your wildest dreams in 2025. So that's why Elyssa is here. If you're new to the podcast, I normally do interviews with superhumans, people who have reached amazing success even despite adversity. So go back and listen to some of those episodes. They're going to blow your mind of how people actually get the things done that they do get done and why they do it, and they're going to teach you a whole ton. We also have other episodes during the week where I come and in a really brief manner, I teach you something that you need to be doing right now. So to like meet your wildest dreams. That's what I want. It's just wildest dreams here. So we are here because it is the New Year's episode. So it's very special. And we get to get everybody started on the right foot.
And everyone has goals right now. And we're all just recovering from the holidays. And
do you do resolutions?
I don't, because there's a whole I did a TV segment on why I don't do New Year's resolutions.
Can we get a sneak peek of your TV?
Absolutely.
I want to know why you don't do it.
So resolutions are things that people usually do based on self-judgment. Like, I'm going to be better at this year. I much prefer for somebody to put in place a new system in their life, because the likelihood that you will accomplish the goal that you're going after if you put a system in place rather than if you decide to do a resolution. Because, everyone, like, gyms get joined in January, maybe end of January, February, people are still going. By the end of February, nobody's going. 6 weeks is the average length of time that someone lasts through a resolution. But if you create a system that just says, like, I love, I'm forgetting the author's name right now, but there's an author, the guy who created Dilbert. What's his name?
Oh, I don't know Dilbert's.
Oh, you don't?
Father's name.
I didn't birth him.
He just kind of did, though.
No, he just. Okay, anyway, that's a whole conversation for another day.
I don't know Dilbert.
So the creator of Dilbert, he talks about his system for fitness. He has his clothing out the night before, and he gets up in the morning and he puts it on, and then he walks to his car, and I don't know if he probably brushes his teeth and gets something to eat. Gets in his car, and his system is he has to drive to the gym. Or at least this is how it was years ago when I first read his book, when that first came out.
You cannot vouch for him continuing.
I don't know if he's still doing it. You know what? Let's be honest. Maybe I shouldn't even use this example until we confirm. No, I'm just kidding. But he would drive to the gym every single day. And if he got to the gym and didn't feel like working out, he would let himself drive home. That was his bargain, his agreement with himself. So that was his system. So had he said, I'm going to work out every single day, or I'm going to join a gym and I'm going to lose 50 pounds, a lot of times we're making resolutions out of things that are arbitrary results that we actually can't control the results. You can't control how much weight raise your hand if you can't control how much weight you lose.
Because if you could, then how's that working?
How's that working out for you? But you can control. I am choosing to cut out sugar. And by the way, this is an actual thing that I do periodically, is I have a sticker chart and I have a system that says if at the end of every day, if at the end of a given day, I have not had a dessert or something that day, because I don't restrict myself, but my body doesn't like how I operate when I have sugar or alcohol or processed food. So I've got some very specific health goals. And so if I get to the end of the day and I didn't have sugar, I get to put a little sticker. That's my system. Like, if I had sugar that day, that's okay. But my system is I attempt each day to really not have that kind of stuff in my diet. And if I get to the end of it, then I get a little sticker. So you have to, I'm a huge fan of systems instead of goals or resolutions.
Okay. I love it because today's topic, we're going to be sharing our favorite books that have really made an impact in our business.
Yes.
And those are going to help you establish systems, put things in place, not just resolutions.
I have such a good one to start us with, too, by the way.
Okay.
I already shared one. I'm sorry. I already shared Dilbert's father's book.
Okay. Dilbert's dad. So that's what I want to share with you today. So if you're going to be writing resolutions, by the way, I love writing resolutions.
Do you? You're a resolution. I shouldn't ask you. I didn't know that you did.
I love writing. I used to have a party. I used to host a party before I had kids. And everything. I used to host a party with all of my friends. You know what? I used to have a lot more friends.
That's why we're so close. We both lost everyone else along the way.
I could fill an entire room with girlfriends.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do that now.
Where did this room is very empty? What has happened?
I don't know where they went. But anyway, at one point when I had friends, I would get them all in my house, and I had a fishbowl. I actually think I bought the fishbowl on purpose
for this exercise. Okay, perfect.
I had a fishbowl.
You were that person that people come to your house and you had a planned activity during the party.
Yes. It was a New Year's resolutions party.
Perfect.
And I would put common resolutions in pieces of paper and put them in the fishbowl.
Okay.
So I would have a whole bunch of notepads and pens in the center of the room. Everybody would get in a circle. I'm talking 20 people, gathered in a circle. and we would all grab it and we would pass the fishbowl reading the resolution out loud. And if that resolution resonated with anybody, they would write it on their list. And so it was cool because like it would make us talk about things. Like somebody would say, like, I think one of the resolutions was go to church more. And then you would hear the groans, like, I'm Jewish and I'm not gonna do that. And I'm like you would hear like, so it would be like fun to
Funny
hear
and everyone's
people,
bantering.
right? But I would love like finishing with my list. And I love writing a list. I don't love checking things off.
Okay.
I'm like the opposite of
You're the
everybody
opposite
else's
of what
lists.
everyone, yeah.
Yeah, everyone is like, it's so satisfying. I'm like, no.
No.
I love just doing
Make
a
list.
good brain dump. It's like
Yeah.
amazing. So it just like helps me center in myself what are the things that I want, that I want to aspire to. I love a good brain dump. So that's what I use resolutions for.
I love that. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, using resolutions as a brain dump, I think that makes sense because you're getting clarity around it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us what is the first book that everyone needs to hear?
Okay, because this is the New Year's episode.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a book that has made such an impact, and the way that this author does business and the way that he narrowed down the exact like secret sauce to actually up leveling yourself and your life blows my mind. You should definitely look him up.
Which is?
Okay, are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Atomic Habits. You knew I was going to say it. You hate it? Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm going to tell you why I like it. Okay.
Just tell me.
But
tell
wait,
me all the good
why
things.
am I
Everybody
blanking?
loves that book.
Well,
Everybody
I'll
loves
tell you why I love it. I don't know if I love it for the same reason that everyone does.
Okay, tell me.
But by James Clear. I'm blanking on his name. Okay. The reason I love it is because of how he wrote the book.
Okay.
It's not because I get irritated when people are like, you just like develop a new habit and you just like do it fast without thinking. Like there are other people out there, and I'm not going to name names, who approach new habits or getting rid of things like procrastination or people pleasing or whatever it is. Like just do it the second that you think of it and just do it. He doesn't approach it that way. And this is not like this book, Atomic Habits, is something. So I have like a business perspective on his book and his process. And then I also like what he says in the book.
Yeah.
But the business process that he went through was it's just so scrappy because he went through a period of time where he was just like trying to figure this out. How do you actually get to change human behavior? How can you actually motivate yourself to change? Because so many of us, again, with the resolutions, we like have a big goal and it's results oriented and it's like exciting and we're inspired. And then when the inspiration fizzles out, then we're just left with a bunch of best laid plans. And so he really was such a pioneer in coming up with the small incremental changes that will be the most effective to help you change your habits, right? So Atomic Habits, I love the concept of that, but I love his process of writing the book. Definitely look him up. We have to kind of like go through everything fast because I know we both have a lot of books that we want to talk about. But that is all I'll say about it. I just really appreciate that he is not putting all the weight on you accomplishing the final result. And that he is talking about actually making noticeable, discernible, visible change by very manageable increments.
Yeah. And I think I remember some of that. So I think the reason why every time I hear Atomic
It's because everyone is always like,
number one is because everybody loves it.
Yeah.
Number two is because I'm not convinced everybody has actually implemented any of it.
That's
and number
true.
three is because I read it and I don't remember any of it. So I don't even know if I ended up learning anything from it. But that doesn't mean that you wouldn't. I'm frustrated in myself that I don't remember because everybody talks so much about it.
Yeah.
That I read it and I still don't remember what I learned.
Part of it, so this could be it. Part of what his whole thing is very common sense.
Okay.
It's stuff we know.
Okay.
So it's not groundbreaking information or like a groundbreaking formula. Like, I've never thought about it this way. It's very logical. So it could just be that it wasn't like a mind blown moment because he talks about the very gradual ways that you create these habits. It's very logical. You don't overwhelm yourself. You don't change everything at once. You go for small, manageable things. It's stuff we all kind of know. It's very common sense oriented. So that may be why it kind of was, maybe a little vanilla in your background noise.
Maybe it was.
Maybe.
But I'm sure I got something out of it that was like brilliant and that I use every day, and I just
And you
can't
just don't
attribute
remember.
it because I don't
That's
remember.
okay.
So thank you for that recommendation. I do think that everybody should have, like, the links, by the way, to
And it's
every book that I'm
easy.
talking about is below. So you can just find them there.
It's a super easy book. It's an easy read.
Yeah. I've had so many people have read it, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So my book that I feel like I talk about all the time, but it really changed my life back in 2021. 2021 was a huge year for me, in that it was the first year ever since I started my business that I actually made a profit.
Yes.
And it was an intentional thing that I started on January 1st. And by the end of the year, I was 30% profitable.
Amazing.
When every year before that, I was in the red every single time and not understanding why. Even though I was like tracking my finances and stuff, like I did not get why. This book clarified everything for me. And the book is called Profit First.
Love that book.
By
Love
Mike
that book.
Michalowicz.
So good.
The link is below. Mike Michalowicz is the author. And what this book walks you through is the idea that the way we normally calculate profits and the way they teach you in business school to calculate profits is revenue minus expenses equals profits. And he's like, dude,
no,
like your expenses are always going to fill this space. It's like the law of the gases, right? Like a gas will occupy the whole space of its container. It's the same thing with time, and it's the same thing with money.
Yep.
If you give yourself 3 days to create your next freebie, you will take all 3 days.
3 days.
Most likely than not, you're gonna be thinking about it day 1, thinking about doing it day 2, and then cramming it day 3.
Yep.
That's just how it goes. We fill the space. It's the same with money. So if I made $5,000 this month, my expenses will rise to the challenge and meet those 5,000 exactly where they're at. And I'm left with zero profit, even though this is most money that I made ever in my business and ever before, right? So what he says, what he claims is, tell me what the profit you want is, right? And work backwards. Tell me what the profit you want is, right? Then, add the revenue to it, like do the math with the revenue, and then tell me what your expenses need to be for that to become true.
Yep.
If your expenses are exceeding your revenue, then my friend, you can't afford the business that you have. You can't afford the decisions that you're making. And you gotta be looking at cutting back some expenses and increasing your revenue. It's like a clear sign to you that, like, if you don't start with thinking of profit first, you're not gonna make that profit.
Yep.
It's still going to be wishful thinking. I hope that I make more money this month, and I hope that my expenses don't meet that revenue. Instead, tell me, what does your revenue need to be? What does your profit need to be? What does the revenue need to be? Okay, based on that, do the math. What do your expenses have to be for you to meet that revenue? And then take a look at all your finances. That first month of 2021, I got rid of so much junk that I was paying for.
So good.
And I'm going to tell you something. It doesn't take you tracking your finances for an entire month to find out where your money's going.
No.
It takes a year.
Yeah.
Because there are subscriptions that you signed up for that you forgot about.
Yep. And they will just take themselves right out of your account as soon as they show up.
And I didn't realize at the time that I was paying for 2 Canva accounts. I was paying for 2 web hosts.
Ooh.
Because in the first few months of my business, I was creating courses on how to make a WordPress website. And I signed up for a hosting plan because I needed a separate plan for blah, 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 blah. I forgot to unsign up for it. I forgot to cancel it. And here I was, like 3 whole years later, and not realizing that it was hitting my account twice because it looked the same as my valid expense.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I was just doubling that. So you start tracking your finances, you figure out what profit you want, and then you figure out what revenue you need and what your expenses need to be. And you gotta start acting accordingly. And of course, there's so much more to it. There's a whole account system that you set up.
I listened to this book and I couldn't listen while I was driving. Like, he gives you so many practical pieces of advice that you take as you go. He's like, He's like, okay, now stop the book right now if you're listening, or put the book down, go do that thing, and then come back. And I'm like, yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. It's like I can't.
It's super helpful.
Driving.
Super helpful.
So I just recommend that to everybody. Again, the links are below. I recommend that to everybody if you want to start making more money. Profit First is a must this year on January 1st. That's the first thing you need to do. Don't let January go by without you buying, listening to this book or reading this book and starting to put these things into place, because it's going to add up, and you're going to thank me when we start recording the episode next year, the New Year's episode. We're going to come back and ask everybody if you did Profit First for the year before. Just go do it.
Yep.
So what is your next one?
Next one. 10x is easier than 2x.
But that was my next one.
Okay, I'm not. Rewind.
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
Because okay.
Say the name of the book again.
10x is easier than 2x is the book, and it is by Benjamin Hardy and Dan.
Dan Sullivan.
Thank you. Oh,
yes.
Good heavens.
Dan Sullivan and Dr.
You can tell this at the end of a long recording day. Oh, Benjamin Hardy.
Benjamin Hardy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the concept is brilliant and also mind-bending.
And effective.
Extremely effective. I read this book after I went to a 3-day retreat where we were up-leveling emotionally, mentally in our businesses with Lindsay Schwartz, and she recommended it. Weirdly, I already had this book in my Audible queue. Like, it was the next book, but I didn't know she was going to be talking about it at the retreat. It was wild.
I probably recommended it.
You probably recommended it.
I'm going to take credit.
She's taking credit
right now.
I don't know if
it's
that's
done.
true.
It happened. It is absolutely true.
Okay.
It's true. It's done.
So I will give my 30-second version, and then I'll let you give your version as well. But what I loved about this book is the end result is they train you in the 6 chapters. I think it's only 6 chapters, but if you listen to it on Audible, it's like 45 hours. It's so long because they do podcast episodes.
I think it's like 7 hours or something like that.
No, it's like 16 or 17.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's long.
I love a long book.
Do you? I recommended this book to a client, and she's like, it's so long. And I'm like, yes, enjoy. Drink it in, babe.
It's amazing.
So you can listen on 1.5 times speed, and you'll still be able to take it in maybe. So the bottom line is that this book trains you as a CEO boss, like as a leader of your company, to stop being in the company in the areas that are not your what they don't call it genius zone in this book. They call it your unique ability. Your unique ability. Yeah. So if you're doing things that are outside of your unique ability, which is also known as the genius zone or whatever you want to call it, then this is how you create a self-running company. Doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur with a coaching business, or you have an Etsy store, or you have, a multi-million-dollar real estate company. Like, it doesn't matter. It will train you in the principles to have a self-running company so that you, as the CEO, then have this extra time. It's not extra, but it's like time and energy that's so precious that you can use to then continue 10x leaping. And a 10x leap compared to a 2x step, 2x is linear growth. So it's like you double the amount of time you're working in your business in order to double the income. Sounds exhausting, right? Nobody wants that. Everyone is going to burn out. So they talk about, instead of choosing a 2x goal, a linear goal that is logical and is going to happen if you just double your work, choose a goal that is 10 times your current revenue, 10 times your current freedom, 10 times your current, joy, and go for that goal, because there will be so few ways to get there that it will require you to go through a refining process of what can't go with you in yourself, in the way that you show up, and what can't go with you in your business if you're going for that goal. It's like a quantum leap goal, which sounds impossible if you just are starting off on this journey, but they make it so possible.
Yeah. I have to say that every single person that I've recommended this book to, which you are one of them, they can't get through the introduction without feeling like an immediate sense of like overwhelm and urgency in their mind that something needs to change in their life.
Something has to change, yes.
And every single person has told me that, like they come back and tell me, Ina, that book you recommended to me, like, thank you, but I don't know how I'm gonna start chapter 1.
Just stay with it. Just stay with it. Don't get overwhelmed. Stay with it.
It's like, because it really shows you that you are meant for so much more. that you have the capacity and the potential for so much more. And you know it too.
Yep.
Right? You know this.
It resonates somewhere down in there the second that you start understanding what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, so after the introduction, you're going to realize that this book is going to call you out on your stuff.
Yep.
And it's going to tell you, listen, if you really want to make it to that goal, it's time to stop with the stupid baby steps. Like, stop the baby stepping. Because like you're not doing what you're meant to be doing in this world, in this life. Like, it's time.
With the caveat, though, I will say, you may hear that statement, don't do the baby steps. And then you're just like, well, crap, I don't have it. Like, I can't, I'm already working too hard as it is. It sounds like what Ina is saying right there is that you have to work harder. That is not what she's saying. But the point of the book is, how do you stop thinking that the answer is working harder all the time?
Right.
How do you stop that default mechanism of, all right, I've just got to take off a big old bite and chew it the best I can, and it's going to hurt and be painful, and I got to invest, and I got to blah, 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 these big things. It's not that. It's about getting rid of everything that's not serving you for that 10x goal only. Your focus gets very small.
Yeah.
It's only on the goal and what you need to get to that goal.
I love how you said that, because it's like, yeah, it's, if I just told you, hey, you need to stop with the small steps and you need to take the big steps, you're going to be like, but my plate is already full.
Yes.
The book is telling you, empty your plate.
Empty your plate.
The book is saying like, then empty your plate. Like, what I just told you that you need to do, you could totally do it. But the only reason you're attaching yourself to these little baby steps is because you feel like that's all you have capacity for. And the book is like, no, empty the plate and you will have plenty of room for you to go and take that 10x leap, because it's not what you think. It's not a 2x linear next step, next
work
step.
harder.
It's not
do
the work
more.
harder. It's not the do more. It's not the find more time. It's the, you're going to be thinking about your next 10x leap completely differently than you have been thinking about your business so far.
Absolutely.
And that is scary for a lot of people.
It is.
I mean, for
and
everybody.
letting go of anything that's on your current plate sounds terrifying if you're used to handling it all and keeping all the plates spinning yourself. But they literally walk you through. This is where it got really juicy for me, is they walk you through exactly what does it look like when you take something off your plate.
Yeah.
How do you not let, because they're not interested in having you let it fall. They're very invested, and everyone that's listening to this book or reading this book really actually makes actionable steps that then build their business to the next level. So you can't have the plates dropping.
Right.
So they've got solutions in this book for, what do you do with the plates? Who ends up spinning the plates? Like, how do you juggle? And what are you doing then when you free up your space?
Yeah. And they always talk about this one particular book in 10X. And the other book that you're inevitably going to want to read right after is called
Who Not How.
Right?
Yeah.
And it is the book that helps you. Hey, do you remember all that 10X stuff that we talked about? This is how you get it done, by finding people who are amazing at helping you do that, or at doing that for you, at taking that completely off your hands.
Yeah.
And their case in point is this collaboration between Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. That Benjamin Hardy is like, he's a writer, he's a PhD, he's interested in this stuff. Dan Sullivan is the coaching mastermind behind
his
all
concept,
of it, right? So they got together, and Dan Sullivan is like, I would love to publish a book, but I'm not going to sit down and write it. Dr. Hardy here, he loves writing books. I love the way his mind works. So we together can create this with this collaboration. So it's like finding the who, right? Like the who's in Whoville, like finding the who's going to help you actually get the thing done.
Which, let's be honest, that's the only reason I'm here today, is because I found my who right here, because I knew that I could not do any of the tech for my first funnels. I had it done for me, and it was so bulky and big, and I could barely function with it. And I saw what you were doing and how you were like, get clients with a tiny audience. And I was like, wow, I would like to do both of those things. I would like to do that because I have the tiny audience. And so finding you, I feel like I then started to really, even before I found this book, to really find if you can get the superpower of asking the right person for help, you become unstoppable.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And that's something that you do very well. I tell everybody that all you know how to do is 10x leaps, because you ask. And
I do.
And actually,
I'm like, oh, shoot, I can't. Oh, wait, let me see. I think I know someone who can.
Right? You just know how to ask, and you ask in a way that I want to help you.
It's my evil diplomacy skills.
It's great.
Persuasion.
Because it has challenged me, right? when we were working together, you were asking me for things that nobody else was asking me for, but I had full capability to do. So I would just do it and be like, so that's something people want. Maybe I should go and sell that.
Yeah.
Wait, that's another thing Elyssa asked me for. Of course I can.
Because I'm just over here looking at everything you're good at, and I'm like, oh, wait, I love how you built this page on your website. I want you to do that for me. Can I just pay you to do that? And you're like, it's not really something I offer, but I'm happy to.
Right.
And so then we just figured that out. And then I knew what you were good at by watching you, and I knew where my gaps were. I think once you know where your gaps are, if you find the right person and that's what you have your eye out for, rather than I just need to get better at, like I was never going to get better at Google Drive. Let's just be honest. I was never going to get better at that just by trying on my own.
Right.
And so after several ugly cries with you on Zoom, I now am fairly decent with Google Drive.
It works.
And it's like
it's a beautiful system. So I'm going to tell you about my next book.
Okay.
And I need to reread this book because it's so amazing. I don't even know if I remember all of it. But the book is called Outwitting the Devil. Please look it up and tell me who the author is. I'm pretty sure it's Napoleon Hill. I'm pretty sure it's a Napoleon Hill book, but I could be completely wrong. Outwitting the Devil is this guy, whoever the author is. Does it say?
It will at any second. Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill, yeah. So Napoleon Hill has a conversation with the devil, and it brings to light that the devil, and by the way, you don't have to be Christian, you don't have to believe there's a devil, you don't have to believe in any of that. All you have to know is that there's this part of you, there's something inside of you that is stopping you from doing things. And that part that is stopping you, it has a specific goal to stop you. And it actually loves certain behaviors that you do. So if you could think of that part that stops you inside of you, externalize it into a person, and let's call them the devil, right? It's like the devil is trying to stop you, and the devil loves it when you procrastinate. Oh, they just amazing. Like, this is great. Like, yes, the devil loves it that you do that, right? So this is a conversation between like somebody who wants to do better in life and their devil. And the devil explains to them, like schools them on all the behaviors that they're doing and why they absolutely love it when they do that. So he's asking questions. Yeah, but I don't mean to do that. I don't want to. He's like, yeah, but you do. And it's great because it means that you act a certain way. And that makes you sabotage. And I love it when you do that because it keeps you exactly where you are. So you discover just through this conversation. And I encourage people to get the audiobook, because in the audiobook, they actually
have a creepy voice through the devil.
They do the devil voice. It's not creepy.
It's not creepy.
It's actually like he's quite relaxed. The devil is very
chill.
Yeah, he's very comfortable where he is. So it's like it's just a lower voice, but he's just explaining to you like very matter-of-factly. Like, yeah, I love it when you self-sabotage yourself. And by the way, when you do that, that's self-sabotage, and I love it. And the guy's like trying to fight with the devil, like, wait, but I don't. And he's like, yeah, but you're going to anyway, right? So it just creates this awareness in you of like, wait, I'm doing stuff that the devil would want me to do. I recommend this book to anybody. Please listen to it.
Yeah.
And everybody, I'll put the link below. I don't think I've ever talked about it in a podcast or anything because it's been such a long time since I read it. It was one of the first books that I read, like business-wise, probably like 2018, 2019. And it really changed the way, like my relationship with my habits changed after that.
You're like, I see you.
Because I see
you.
Now I know what you're doing, and now I know why that doesn't work. I need to reread it. I recommend to everyone.
Oh my gosh. Beginning of the year. No better time.
No better time than start to outwit the devil.
Start now.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. Do you have one last one?
I have two last ones, but I don't have to talk about them in depth. One is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, which is one, if you're in the entrepreneurial world, you probably have read it or heard of it. Love it. It talks about the upper limit problem, being responsible. Essentially, it's the same idea as outwitting the devil, but it's not that creepy. I don't know.
Okay. They don't have a devil voice?
There's not a devil voice that I recall.
Okay.
But it does teach you to watch for when you think that you're just too tired, when you think that you're just burned out, when you think that you're just having a relationship problem. It actually teaches you how to think about what's happening internally on a much deeper level with how your brain is limiting you from actually having the joy, the love, the freedom, and the wealth in your life that you want. Love that book. And then the final one I just want to give a plug for, another money book. Look, gotta love the money books. Get Rich Lucky Bitch by Denise Duffield Thomas.
If you're going to talk about Get Rich Lucky Bitch,
You
then I'm
gotta
going to
talk
put a
about
plug.
Catherine Zenkina. Yep, you have to.
Catherine
You
Zenkina,
have
the
to.
manifestation babe.
Yeah.
So Get Rich Lucky Bitch,
Mhm.
please describe what it is, and then I'm going to say
It's
how this one
It's
relates.
a fantastic book, and it's a great listen because Denise Duffield Thomas, cutest Aussie you will ever hear, reading her own little freaking adorable book, but also very powerful about money mindset. She's a money mindset mentor. She has Money Boot Camp. It's a fantastic. I've been a member of Money Boot Camp for a long time, and she talks about the principles of basically building a lifestyle that allows you to level up the actual cash flow that you can receive. And she talks from a perspective of energetics, but also from some really practical things. Like when I first read that book or listened to it, that was the first time I ever started checking my money daily that was coming into the business. And not from a point of shame, because I had been told so many times, like, you need to know what's going on in your expenses. And I was like, I don't really want to see how scary it is that I have to spend money in my business. That's how I started out. That's how it started. This is how it's going. I now track the money that's incoming. Yes, I have a bookkeeper who watches the books and who makes sure that expenses are flowing the right direction and everything, and that we have enough income. But I personally have my eyeballs on every dollar that finds its way into my accounts because of this book. And it really gets you in a different headspace of thank you, more please. For every dollar that comes in, you give it some space, some honor, and she's the one that taught me that. So I love that book for that reason.
So I read that book based on your recommendation.
Yes.
I read that book. And as I'm reading it, I'm like, wait a minute. This entire book has an exact parallel
Yes.
to Catherine Zenkina, who is the manifestation babe.
Yep.
Catherine Zenkina's first workbook.
Yes.
Called,
which, by the way, because you gifted it to me, I am now working through.
Yes. I every time, let me tell you. So anyway, her workbook is called Unleash Your Inner Money Babe, a 21-day challenge to manifest $1,000.
Are you reading that somewhere behind my head?
I just know it by
Oh my
heart
gosh.
because I have been buying this book, and I used to buy it for every single one of my clients.
Yeah.
Right?
That's how I ended up with it. It's really beautiful.
Like when people would sign up for my program, I would gift them this book because I'm not a mindset coach. I know a little bit, like to get myself by, right? Get a little bit to get
your
my
ish
clients
together.
by. But I recommend that people follow like people who have like mindset tools and
Yes.
resources. And this workbook is the most beautiful expression of that I've ever seen. And it's basically like the workshop version, or sorry, the workbook version
of Get Rich Lucky Bitch. Yes, agreed.
It's like a complete parallel. And it guides you through 21 days of decluttering your mindset, to setting your goals, to figuring out that there's divine action that you need to take, figuring out like where would money that is manifested come from, right? To realize also that even though you're thinking about that, the how it's coming into your life is not your job.
Yeah.
It's all about embodying the kind of person who would make that kind of income.
Yep.
And that it's an entire mindset exercise that I confessed to you the other day that, yeah, I want to start doing this again. In fact, our good friend Ina Toppler,
Yeah.
I'm gonna link her down there because she's like one of our great friends.
Yeah.
Ina Toppler is also going through this book, and she decided to gift it to me.
Oh.
So I'm like, yes, I accept. Thank you. Because every time that I go through that workbook, which has been at least 4 times, I buy myself a new copy. Because I could have just decided, hey, I'm just going to buy one copy, and then the exercises, I'm just going to do them on a Google Doc, and that way I can go through the book anytime I want. But that is not in the spirit of abundance that this book wants you to have.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, abundance. I want abundance. And the book,
I'm writing on it in ink, which is so unusual for me because I
Right.
usually will do the same thing. I will write in a separate notebook so I can come back and do it again.
Exactly.
But no,
No.
I'm writing on it in ink. I am using it
And
fully.
she's giving you, like the book, if you see it, it's like, it's wide
And it's
big.
pretty, and it gives big
It's
spaces
pretty,
to write in.
Huge spaces to write. Like, and the first time that I went through it, I'm like, I'm going to use this and I'm going to write big and I'm going to use every line.
Yes.
And like, so it's that that sense of abundance. And I confessed to you the other day that even though I have started this book 4 times, I've never actually finished it because I always find a place that I get stuck in. Yeah. So this is kind of one of those books that you just have to continue to revisit because there's always something new to learn about yourself based on what you're going through right in that moment.
Absolutely.
So we are going to be going through it again. I'm waiting for my copy. Yay. Right now I'm like away from home, but I can't wait to get home, get my book, and just start writing in it. But I recommend it because it's not about manifesting $1,000.
Right.
That's like an excuse for you to start embodying something. You can scratch that out and put any amount of money you want.
$10 at that, $1 million, whatever it is.
The idea is that you would not know where that money is coming from. You're just starting to embody the kind of person that would be deserving of that. And it doesn't have to be money. It could be a relationship change. It could be getting a new job. It could, whatever you want to manifest, right? So forget about like that particular thing. It's about starting to embody like a brand new person. And for New Year, I think that is just perfect. So I'm going to put all those links below of every book. So I just wish everybody a wonderful new year. We want you to have everything that you've ever dreamed of in 2025. Yes. And Elyssa, thank you for doing this with me. You are such a good friend.
This is so fun.
I can't wait for another year of a wonderful friendship with you.
And how much more we're going to accomplish because we're working on all these things so actively. Stay tuned. Watch this space because if there was ever someone who's doing the work while she's putting it on the podcast, it's this lady right here.
Oh, we should do this like for
an annual. Oh,
for 2026. And
love that.
Like, okay, how far did we go?
Yep.
Yeah.
Still barefoot.
Still
Should we wear the same outfits?
No.
Okay, new outfits.
It's like we're gonna be completely new people in a year. So that's what we'll do.
I love it.
So I really hope that this was good for you guys. Go get those books. All the links are below. I will tell you these are affiliate links, and when you use them, it does help me, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for using those links. Elyssa, where can people go and find you and follow you and get more of your lovely energy?
Thank you so much. Come on over to Instagram. I'm at Elyssa C. Smith. And LinkedIn, also Elyssa Smith on LinkedIn. And I have a free community for women, especially women founders, over on Facebook called the Stress Less Lounge.
And if you like this episode with Elyssa, let me know. Find me on Instagram. I'm at Ina Coveney, but you have to spell Coveney right. It ends in EY. I'm also putting the link below. You don't have to learn how to spell my name. But come and tell me that you really enjoy the episodes with Elyssa, and maybe we can do a few more.
We'll do more.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Please go follow and subscribe so you don't miss another episode of this super series.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.